Noting the time of 7 o'clock p.m. Tuesday, January 13th, I bring this meeting of the Boxborough Finance Committee to order. I'll note for the minutes we have Joe Stolpin, John Grieven, Michelle Ryan, Maria Nayland, John Connor and myself, Tony Newton. Also in the room we have Mike Johns, Town Administrator, Ray John Hudson, Deputy Town Administrator. We have Becky Neville, we have Mary Brolin, and we have Gary Kushner. And at this point, I'm going to go into executive session. So we're going to into executive session to consider the purchase, exchange, lease and value of real property pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, 21A6, because the Chair believes that the discussion in open session will have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the town. So at this point we're going to an executive session.
So moved.
Oh.
Somebody needs a second.
I'll make a motion, yes, yeah, okay. So that's a move by Maria Nayland and seconded by Michelle.
And you have to do a roll call vote for that.
Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote to go into executive session.
Stolpen, aye.
Grevin, aye.
Ryan, aye.
Neil and I.
Connor, aye.
And Newton, aye.
Okay.
Okay. We can go next door to the... Okay, this is the open session of the Boxborough Finance Committee meeting, resuming at 7:20. Next on the agenda is minutes of January the 6th meeting.
Well, you have to come back out of...
Sorry?
No, we come back out in the executive session. He asked if we had to come back out of executive session. We do not.
Yeah. Any comments on the minutes?
Yeah, I have a correction. Regarding the savings, there was a line where it talks about 9.8 million in savings. It's actually 1.874. This is in the school committee section.
What was the actual correction?
1.874.
Million.
Correct.
Good catch. I'll find it.
Okay.
John, what did they actually write though?
9.8.
It's on page 4. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Move to approve as amended?
Is there a second?
Oh, second.
Yeah. All in favour?
Aye.
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 Sorry, who seconded?
I did.
Right.
Yeah. No?
Thank you.
Citizens' concerns. There's no reserve fund transfer today. Special town meeting, we need to review the warrant again and vote again. On
We have to vote on the whole warrant, right? And there's 4 articles, so we have
Right.
other articles as well.
Yeah.
But do we want to start with the fire station articles?
Sure. So I'm going to share the warrant article.
Okay. We'll talk about it, we'll vote, and then I can share the recommendations.
Okay.
So just as an update, last night at the select board meeting, we added a 4th article for closing costs for the property to be hopefully funded out of free cash, but we can talk about that when we get to it.
Okay.
Okay, so we talked about this property being voted by the Fire Station Building Committee. We talked about this last week. And last night, the select board accepted the recommendation and unanimously recommended this property to town meeting. So it's 984 Mass Ave property. We talked about, is there any specific questions? We talked about the criteria that we had looked at, Fire Station Building Committee had looked at, and this is in my recommendation, but I'll sort of point to it now. We had a matrix that had 14 criteria on it, and that included cost, location, abutters. It had to do with environmental concerns. So when we narrowed the properties down to the 72 Stowe Road and 984, we compared those two. And I would say primarily it was the abutters that moved 984 slightly above the 72 Stowe Road. And so after much discussion, and a lot of it was based on both locations are good. They're both excellent with respect to building, flexibility for the building. The fire chief was leaning slightly towards 984 because of the location on Mass Ave, which I think he likes. The fire station building committee liked it on Mass Ave. It's much more visible to the public. And from the chief's perspective, with respect to response time, though 72 Stowe Road was a good response time, it being slightly closer to the highway, and I won't say north or south or east or west because that's slightly closer to the highway. It is slightly closer to where many of our calls are on 495 and to the most dense part of town. The apartments and condos on that, closer to the highway is one of the most densely populated areas. So, and still the response time to the rest of the time is good. So to the rest of the town is good. So the chief was pleased with that. So the fire station building committee, for those reasons, and the concern that with 72 Stowe Road, it's been on the radar of the committee for a long time. If we look to 72 Stowe Road and we wanted to go forward with that, we did not think we could get a 2/3 vote because there is an organized opposition to 72 Stowe Road. An abutter came to our meeting. I mentioned this last week. I'll mention it again. With the threat of a lawsuit, the neighbors were going to get together, and like I said, they're very organized to hire an attorney, bring us to court if we tried to bring this forward, or if it went forward and actually was approved at town meeting, bring us into court. If it didn't work in state court, they threatened federal court. That could tie us up. It could be dismissed in 6 months. The reality is it could tie us up for 5 years. And we just also felt, kind of at the end of the day, this is a little bit more expensive. I understand that on paper. In reality, the delays, if we can't get the 2/3 vote, very quickly is going to eat up the expense, the difference in the expense. So we really felt strongly about Mary's doing this.
Yeah, can I add something?
Yep.
Go ahead.
When we did our studies, the studies indicated that we did not need a traffic light for the 72 Stowe Road site, nor for the 984 site. But everything we've heard from the community is if we were to go to 72, they would want to see a traffic light at the Stowe Road Mass Ave intersection. And our consultants indicated that's over $1 million in extra cost. As the fire station building committee, because the studies didn't say it was warranted, we were not going to put it in our budget, even if it was at 72 Stowe Road, but the town would have to consider whether to do that. So that could be, if the town felt a light was needed there, then that would be another significant cost.
And we did get pushback about that specific item right before we voted. So,
And also I've added to this now the cost over 30 years, the calculated cost per $1,000 of tax and per household. So this is actually based on the debt tables we got from
Hilltop.
And what they've mapped out for the fire station construction, which works out about 6.2% a year actually in terms of principal and interest payback on that loan. So I figured it on 6.2%. And with the price of the average house in what we estimate for FY27, that will obviously change as years go on, but that's basically what we're talking about is $76 per average house per year.
Yeah, for that warrant article.
For that
Yeah.
part of the land purchase. Yeah.
So for all the reasons I just listed, that's why we came down at 984. So, does anyone have questions? I've sent you guys last week the links, all the links to, well, the page, the great videos that Mary did. I tried to send you as much information as we had that you guys could look at. It's too difficult. I know, John, you were hoping for a side-by-side. there's just thousands of pages of information. There's just too difficult for me. I mean, you know, as a working person, I guess, suppose if I had nothing else to do, I could pull it together. But I could not pull that together. But I wanted to make sure you guys had the opportunity to review everything.
Yeah, I really appreciated the conceptual design, soft cost, hard cost analysis. It really just hammered home. Well, it's disappointing that there's such strong opposition to the 72 Stowe Road, considering that it is a prime location and would save the town, you know, quite a bit of cash. They really are comparable. The sites really are comparable.
Yes, they
based on
really
the
are.
matrix and based on, like, if we're going purely on, you know, is this land suitable? Are the soft costs comparable? The answer is yes. So thanks for providing that data.
Yep.
Still disappointing, but thanks.
Well, at least I could give you the data.
No. Like this is exactly what I was looking for, which was like the total project budget.
So I'll make a motion that the Finance Committee recommend this article. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so do we want any more discussion before we vote on this? Okay, let's go around the table. Joe?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Michelle?
I'm
Maria?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
And me, Newton, aye. Okay,
Okay.
so we're
Unanimous.
6-0.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you for the information.
Okay.
it's really helpful.
And what I will make sure to do is, as we go forward, I'm going to actually ask that the FinCom be added to the Fire Station Building Committee packages, probably after the vote, because that's when we start talking about design, so you guys can really have the documents as we get them to look at, and I'll discuss it, but I'll make sure that you guys are getting what we're getting as we get it. And if there's something that's really important, I'll make sure that you guys. Do you want to go over my recommendation for that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Did you write it yet? No.
I did.
Okay. good.
I wrote the yes. I didn't know if there would be no's. So
Yeah.
do you want me to read it, or you want me to put it up on the screen? I can do
Put
either
it on
one.
the screen, yeah. I'll stop sharing, you can put it on the screen.
All right. Okay. Did I do that? It's up there.
Make it bigger.
I can make it bigger, but why is it not on the TV?
Um,
Because I'm sharing it in Zoom.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
There you go, it is now.
Okay. All right, so this particular one, you guys take a look at that, and then what's highlighted is stuff that I needed to fill in tonight, and I wanted to talk a little bit about. So,
Can I just share for a second?
Hold on. I wonder if it's just too much, Maria, actually.
it's too much?
Yeah, I mean, too many words.
Yes. and
Okay.
I'm not sure I would agree with a lot of it. Like,
And-
I wouldn't advocate for $2.6 million because the site is better. I don't know. I wouldn't.
Well, I think the financial arguments are there's risk associated with other sites that are,
Yeah.
are unknown, and they are sort of delay risks and maybe even litigation risks. With
I'd like to
other
keep
sites.
it like that vague, though.
Yeah. And this site seems to be less risky and more straightforward. And I don't think we need to get into all of the Fire Station Building Committee matrix is really the Fire Station Building Committee.
Okay, so let's start
Position.
on the first paragraph. You want me to Fire Station Building Committee, many hours reviewing, I can take that out? You want me to take that all out?
I think that can all
Yeah,
come out, 'cause that's
fine.
really Fire Station Building Committee stuff, basically.
Okay. Do that in real, I'm gonna fix this, I just wanna know. The choice of 84 provides the town with the best location for current and future programming, needs of the fire station with the best flexibility. We're good with that? But if we're gonna do that, do I go back up
Well,
top?
again,
And get
you
rid
see,
of-
this to me is all about the Fire Station Building Committee making those recommendations about the best site for purpose.
Yeah.
I think we're here to say what's the financial implication
Okay.
of any of these sites, and
So you-
can we support this site? I mean, to me, this site is supportable from the point of view.
Strictly financial.
Yeah, that's my feeling. I was thinking.
Okay.
I agree with that.
All right.
'Cause I don't necessarily
Well, yeah, I mean,
agree
but
with
you
the
have to,
nuance.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I don't necessarily agree with like the nuances implied here. I'd rather say this is a less risky move financially for the town because of the unknown potential financial
Yeah.
consequences
Yeah, yeah.
associated
You do
with
have to-
72.
Yeah.
Say
That-
what
that-
you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I agree with that. I agree
Okay.
with that. Yeah. But we have to get into the depths of.
But I'm like, I think they're
Yeah,
comparable.
we are
sites.
from a financial perspective, and
Yeah,
it's two
yeah.
things. It's the overall cost and the risk of expanded costs that we
Yeah.
need to minimize,
Yeah.
right? But I think
Yeah,
Michelle
I
has said
just-
it better.
Okay, that's fine, and I can do that. I just feel like we need to justify a little bit of the $2.6 million more on 984. So, all right, so basically, I'm taking out, you guys don't like the top sentence, and that's fine. Okay, so,
I don't know that 2.6 million more is really a relevant fact, actually, because
but people are gonna ask, don't you? I mean, I feel like it's our,
Yeah, I think
so the reason half of us didn't vote for this last week was because it was 2.6 more,
Yes.
which is why I felt like I needed to justify.
I think you can say
you know,
that. You can
yeah.
say while it costs approximately 2.6 more than the 72 Stowe Road site, this choice reduces the potential future financial risk on the town. Like, you can, fluff it up more than that, but like, that's the reason I'm voting
we also
yes.
think that Stowe Road is really not a feasible site to move forward with. So the fact that it's more than that is actually not particularly relevant in that point. If Stowe is off the table, the fact it's more than Stowe Road is not a pertinent fact.
I mean, I would say it's feasible, it's just like not financially responsible.
Also, Stowe's not on the warrant anymore, so
It's-
really, we're voting to recommend
That's
this
a good point.
It's a
sole
yes,
fire
this
station.
is a yes/no. Do we?
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Are we voting for 984 Mass Avenue or not?
Okay.
The fact it's more than some other previous selection becomes irrelevant, I think. I think it's about, for this cost, 2.4 million, is this something we support as a finance committee?
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna take all of this, throw it into ChatGPT, tell it to get rid of a bunch of stuff and come up with, basically. Because it took a while to get this.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just gonna whittle this down to the financial, the risk, the delay.
Well, I
the-
like this last sentence.
Which-
984 Mass Ave provides a location that meets the needs of the project with flexibility and does not have, and I would say, risk of potential delays or future negative financial impact on the town.
Yeah.
I think
Or
that's
is like,
it.
Well,
or
that
is
can't be it.
is the
Like,
most
what?
likely,
Because, go ahead.
the most likely location to gain widespread support of the town.
Yeah.
Okay. I will shorten this down. I will tell you, I don't agree with not putting in a little bit more detail. That said, I'll look at the Fire Station Building Committee's recommendation and the Select Board recommendation and make sure that detail is in those recommendations.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah,
get,
that's
I
great.
mean, I can do, believe
it,
me,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good with one paragraph that
Yeah.
says, we're supporting this because, it's cheaper in the long run, we might get sued, we're not gonna
As
As
blah,
long
blah,
as the
blah.
word
Cheaper.
risk is in there, I'm
Uh,
happy.
That would,
Most
that would
obvious
be
one.
my thought, Maria, is,
Yeah.
right, because we're approaching this from a financial perspective.
Okay,
Yeah,
If those things are missing, honestly, I think I know it's not in the purview of this board, but perhaps I think they belong there as opposed to ours.
Okay.
We can't go to the select board and be like, change your recommendation and add this.
no,
Right,
I
get
just
that.
wanna
No,
make
but-
sure it's in there so that when people
But
are
I think
reading,
if they are,
they get
if they
that.
are lacking,
Yeah,
yeah, if,
And then it's in ours as well.
okay.
just say it's cheaper on a risk-adjusted basis.
Ooh, I like
You-
that.
Great, you people, wait a minute,
That's
you guys gotta
snappy.
stop, not everyone's on FinCom. There's gonna be people saying, what the hell is a risk-adjusted basis?
It's what you picked us to do.
I understand, but you know what, not everyone is gonna say, oh, well, they said that, so it's good.
But sometimes.
Well, I understand, that's fair, but
sometimes-
We
but
need
it
to-
is what we're doing.
I understand,
And
and so
some-
I'm gonna explain it a
So
little
it's-
differently than that.
I
All
mean,
right, so
in
it's
layman's
cheaper
terms.
factoring all
Yeah.
risks.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
And sometimes less words have more impact than
Okay.
a lot of words.
I'm
If- if
happy
we-
to do
if
that.
we can focus
So
on this.
my question to this group is, I've got to get this are you comfortable with me rewriting and Tony checking it and making sure it gets your points across? Because I clearly think more words is more important, but I will write whatever you guys want because we have a unanimous vote. So are you good with Tony looking at it and saying, yeah, this is
Yeah.
what we're talking
I mean,
about?
the
Because I
only
can't send it
reason-
out to everybody.
The only reason I voted yes is because of the risk associated with other selections.
Okay.
So like, this is the least risky option. It is the most fiscally responsible at this point,
Okay,
now that I've watched
all right.
all the content.
All right, so I'm going to do that. So let's talk about this last portion. Funding for this article will be through a short-term ban. The ban will be refinanced into a long-term bond. That's exactly what we had in the last May.
Yeah, are
I'm
we sure
not-
that's the case? There's no payment on the ban?
No, so that's why I've
27?
highlighted this, because
Yeah.
when we did this in May, and Mike, I don't know if you can help us out, when we did this in May, that's what we determined, there would be no bond payment in FY '26. So I moved it forward because now we're in FY '26, so but I'm not sure about that. I'm happy to take that out. That's why I highlighted it, I want to have that
I
conversation.
think we should take that out altogether
Okay.
because
Okay, 'cause we're not
we've got
sure.
a chart at the bottom that says what it's going to be over 30 years. When that actually starts, I think we don't really know at this
Okay.
point because that's about the vagaries of Hilltop Securities and when they start charging interest.
All right, so I'm going to keep the funding for this article up until coming vote in 2027, and then the impact on the FY '27 taxes, or just the impact on taxes?
Well, you can take that's already down below, isn't it? The impact on taxes.
Yes, because you sent that to Kelly, and she put that in.
So we don't.
So
need to
just take that out
take it out
completely.
because it's just redundant. Yeah.
All right, I gotta make sure that that says that, so that people, okay. All right, so that's fine. So, forget that. I will fix this whole thing. I
Sorry.
wish I had known this in
Sorry.
advance, because let me tell you, one paragraph with the word risk would have been great on Sunday when I was
Sorry.
doing this. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing this so you can go on to the next one.
Okay. Okay, so we move on to Article 2, which is new firehouse design and bid funding.
Okay, so this hasn't changed since last week.
Yeah, and last week, did we vote on it last week? We didn't, did we?
You guys gave a preliminary vote, but it wasn't like this,
Yeah.
I want to take a final vote tonight.
Yeah, okay. So I've added the cost there, which is very similar to the other cost.
Yep, yep.
I mean, do we want to just,
Do you
I
have
just
any
had a quick
questions on this?
questions?
I have an overall question.
Yep,
The land's gonna cost about 2.4.
yep,
The design, I'm sorry, I'm more just saying this out loud, and the design's 2.7.
yeah,
And then we still have 30 million for the station.
yep.
Okay.
So,
Just, no, and
One day at a
that's just
time.
reality. We've talked a bunch of times, and I'm sure all the building committee, and we've talked about it here. That's the cost of just the overall decade of delay or whatever. It is
that's
what it is.
exactly what it is.
It is
It
what it
was,
is.
this project would have been $15 million,
Yep.
and through the delays through the town, and quite frankly, the first delay was from the FinCom from that time. That was just
Okay.
like, that's just too expensive, we're just not gonna pay it. Well, okay, and that started us down this road.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
yep. So, and we
Okay.
we are pledging as a fire station building committee, once we get the design going, we'll be able to do some value engineering. Because
Mhm.
everybody wants us to cut out of those costs that I sent you guys. We actually, like, what are we
you
gonna do?
don't-
Cut
you
the
don't-
material that we don't know what we're gonna use yet? Are we
Yeah,
gonna
you
use
don't know what
brick,
you're
is
doing.
it masonry or?
There's nothing to cut
clapper?
yet, 'cause you don't know what to cut.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we will make it the most cost efficient and building that we can.
Right.
Once we have an idea of what we're using to make this, to build the building.
Yeah.
So, okay,
So after this is completed,
yep.
will you be where are we to that point?
When this is completed, we will have a full, final, cost for construction. And it will have been out to bid, we will have qualified the builders, and we will actually be back with the final cost with the builder, and the subs and everybody.
So does the value engineering take place in this phase? or
It does take place in this phase, as we go through it.
3 times.
If you look in the recommendation that Mary and the Fire Station Building Committee wrote, you talk about an iterative process between getting this design funding with the architect and the OPM, going through 3 phases of design, reductions as necessary and value engineering to get to the best value.
Yep,
Yep.
okay. So you'll have that value engineered number at the end of this step?
Yep,
As
and
a
that will be
result
the
of this
final number.
2.7 or whatever it is. Okay.
I had 2 other questions.
Yep.
One, do we know about how long this will take?
It should take a year. I think we're all kind of hoping less than a year would be great, but, probably
yeah.
around this time next year, whether it's December or January, we'll be looking at a town meeting.
Okay. And can you just quickly remind me again why we need 2/3 versus majority?
Because it's bonding.
Bonding. Thank you.
I actually am not sure about the purchase of the property. I don't know if we purchase it needs to be 2/3 or if it's just because we're bonding it, right?
For the land, it's both, because it's land
Okay, it is
purchase and
both,
because
yeah.
bonding, and for this, because it's bonding.
It's just because it's bonding, right?
So if we didn't even, and just to make sure I understood you correctly, Mike, if we were getting the land for $1 and didn't need to bond it, we still would need 2/3 because we're buying land as well? Is that
I
correct?
think so.
You don't have to quote. You don't have to quote you. if you
So
want.
what I think would happen in that case
Yeah.
is that what we probably would have taken to town meeting, let's say, back in October, is have town meeting authorize the select board to accept the land.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like a land donation or a very low
Okay.
cost. It's,
All right.
it's
But
primarily.
typically, if we buy land, you need it kind of for both the bonding and
Right.
buying land. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so,
It's okay. I'll make a motion then that we
oh yeah,
recommend this article.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any more discussion on this? Joe?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Michelle?
I'm
Maria?
Neil and I.
Connor, aye.
And Newton, aye.
Okay, so now, if you stop sharing, I'm gonna share what is a very short recommendation.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna be really excited if you guys are happy with this.
It's another $5 million?
No, this is pretty short, like, kind of explains what I just explained, and ignore the highlighted section, because we'll change that again.
I might just change would to will. It's more suggestive of the
We will
positive
have.
outcome. That's personal preference, that's all. Otherwise, strong.
And that last sentence can come out, can't it, about the impact on taxes?
Yes, that again, I'll do exactly the same as I've got
Yeah,
up at the top,
yeah.
because we've got your chart.
So one thing, Mike, we're going to need to think about budgeting the interest charges for this on the ban, because that will affect FY27. And as far as I know, it's not in ClearGov budget yet.
Correct.
So we need to work with the treasurer, I think, and figure out what that debt table is going to look like.
Okay.
Sentence,
What?
3rd sentence, archive, be achieved.
Third sentence.
First word.
Design, additionally,
You should be achieved the lowest cost, yeah.
oh, okay,
Oh.
sorry. Okay. Yeah, so we've got to figure that out, and if it's actually going to affect, I assume it will. I don't know why it didn't, I don't know why we
Well,
thought
that'd be
it wouldn't
within
last year.
FY27 anyway, right? Because
Yeah,
once we get to the next calendar,
Yeah.
calendar year 27,
okay.
we'll definitely be in there, I think, so.
All right, so we're good with this as is?
Don't forget the other E in achieve.
A chive.
Okay, I will.
John.
All right, my people, give me shit about it. Okay,
This is the grief you get, Maria, for
for what?
no good deed goes unpunished.
I guess
right?
not. All right, so that was those two, and then the next one for the fire station building, which is the 4th one, I'll talk about what I think we should say on that. Oh, right here, 3rd.
Land acquisition costs.
Yeah, so originally the thought was that we would bond the 20,000 as well, but then last night at the select board, actually Mike and Mary and I had talked about this. These are the closing costs, so rather than putting that in a bond ask, we think it's gonna be close to 15, but you just never know with commercial property. There could be deed work or whatever. So we think 20,000 will cover the closing cost. That's the estimate we got from the attorney. And the suggestion, frankly, that I made to Mike is that we should do this as a separate article, and we should do it through free cash. we'll take what we need and we'll put it back into free cash.
So you're not financing closing costs.
Right, exactly. It just doesn't make,
Yeah.
you
That
didn't,
makes
you
a
know,
lot of
you
sense.
shouldn't be doing that anyway, whether
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
buying a house or whatever you're doing, it makes
Yep.
no sense. So,
Yeah.
so 20,000 is probably a little bit high, but we're
I
not
think-
sure.
I think so, because the initial estimate that I got from our attorneys for doing, you know, the title search, the deeds, the, you know, and taking it to closing was 12,000. It sounded low, and so I think it'll be less than 20, but I'm certain it'll be more than 12.
Yeah, we don't want to be, so, and,
And it's already free cash, so it's already taxed money.
Right.
And, you know, whatever we don't use out of the 20, you know, goes back to where it came from in free cash.
And what if we didn't do enough? Like, let's say we did 10 and it was 12, what would we do?
if, we'd have to take it out of the regular budget somewhere.
And
Well, how
we're-
far
and
does
we're
more or
gonna
less
know-
get you?
What's that?
How far does more or less, the language, you know, 20,000 more or less, like how far more can you go on?
Oh, yeah, it's like a 10% kind
No.
of thing?
Yeah, you really can't go more.
You can't go
But we're,
Okay, so
but we're gonna
so
know
we
in
should
the
get
next
rid of
couple
that.
of weeks, because a lot of the title search has already started, and that's where a lot of the work is gonna go into, and we're gonna know in the next couple of weeks, and we can go back and revise this, you know, before it goes to print.
Oh, good,
Or
okay.
if not, we can
can
revise
change
the
the
on-town
motion.
floor.
On
And
top
on
of- yeah.
town meeting floor, we don't say or more or less.
Yeah.
The motion does not have that part.
Yeah.
It's only in the warrant.
In
Okay.
this warrant, so you have to remember
Got
that the moderator will tell you the warrant is a warning to people. And if you get there, we could make this 22,000, because
Right,
we
right,
could go
okay.
up 10%.
Gotcha.
That's generally where the moderator's comfortable, so it could be more or less, but the motion would be specific.
Okay.
Got it.
But, again, if we can't change it before print, we can change it on town floor. If it ends up being 17.5, that's what we'll ask for. And people get excited when we
And
do
we
that.
just take a motion to do that.
Yep, at town floor, yep.
Yeah, we've done stuff like that,
That's how
yeah.
the motion will be read
Yep,
from the select board.
okay.
So I'll make a motion that we recommend Article 3, firehouse land acquisition costs.
All right.
Second.
Newton, and then Connor second. Any more discussion? Stolpin?
Aye.
Grevin, aye?
Ryan, I.
Neil and I.
All right.
Newton, aye.
And I would just really like to keep this simple and say for the reasons listed above.
Mm-hmm.
We, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, what's there to negotiate? or
Exactly,
recommend
there's not
on
much
that?
of conversation
You
around
You
that.
need money to close the title search.
Yep, okay.
The next one is Article 4, that's the last one, I think, right,
Yep, this is your recommendation, by the way,
right.
so.
Town meeting expenses, FY26. So
So this is for the town meeting we
it's
already
paying, it's
had.
paying the last one that, basically at the Regency.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's fine for me. Any other comments, discussions?
It's kind of weird to vote to pay for it after we did it, but other than
Because
that,
we didn't initially,
Feel weird
we
about
didn't
that,
budget
too.
for it
Right.
this year.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know we were going to the Regency.
Because we didn't know we were
when-
going to the
Yeah.
Regency.
During the budget process.
And then because of where we landed with the number of people at Blanchard in May, because
Yeah.
of the fire station, we thought, well, with these two things, that's why the moderator and the town administrator thought we should be
Yeah.
at Regency, which is a good call. That first night, we had a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So, second night and third night, not so much, but second night, but the first night, we had a ton of people, so. And so, this is not budgeted.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we recommend this article.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? Okay, Joe?
Stolpen, aye?
Grevin, aye?
Ryan, I.
Neil and I.
Connor, aye.
Newton, aye.
Nice.
6-0.
And I assume your recommendation will be for the reasons
The
listed
reason
above,
above,
yada,
yeah,
yada,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I'll just add those to this and send it back to
Okay.
the last two and
Um,
tell Kelly where we are in voting.
All right, so I'm
Um,
probably, Mike, Kelly doesn't need this tomorrow, does she? She need it like by 5 o'clock tomorrow or something, or can I do the- at some point tomorrow and then Thursday?
I don't even remember what day today is.
I mean, I think we have
She needs
time
it this-
based
She
on
needs it this week.
this week. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Because I gotta get typed, I gotta get to Tony, and I already have like a full day tomorrow, and then I'm off to Boston tomorrow night, so I really,
Remember specifically what day she.
Okay. So next topic on the agenda is the FY26 budget. So the only thing just to mention about that is that there's this audit going on, Mike. Maybe you can tell us a bit about the audit that's happening for the Treasurer's Office.
Yes, so the, two things. So the town audit is nearly complete. They're waiting on getting the the cash reconciliation. That is now done from a separate special auditor that we brought in just to audit the cash in the treasurer collector. That is complete, so our annual audit ought to be completed soon. More specifically to the treasurer collector's office, when our town auditor, Roselli and Clark, when they were in, I asked the head auditor, could they recommend someone, or is this something they could do to take a look at our cash, specifically in the treasurer collector, because we had a turnover and we were gonna have a couple of months before the new treasurer collector came in. We wanted a clean break and a clean start for the new treasurer collector. So they weren't able to do it themselves, but they recommended someone that they have used for that purpose before. So we brought in a CPA who is a former municipal professional, financial professional, and she has finished FY25, reconciled all of that, and has also reconciled up each month up through this past October, and will bring us up to current, and that's in the final stages now.
And what was the result from that in terms of how off we were in terms of numbers, or
I haven't seen.
metric we have?
I haven't seen the results of that,
Okay.
but I did send a question to her this morning, following up from a question Maria had at last night's meeting. Would it have any impact on our free cash number? And it did not. It has absolutely no impact on our free cash. But I haven't seen a report from her on the closeout of
I
that.
think last night, maybe Emily said 175,000 that they were trying to reconcile. They went back and reconciled. There was 175,000 they needed to reconcile from last year, which they did do.
Right.
But it was around that number that they were trying to get to when they went back to 2025 calendar kind of.
Right.
So.
Okay. FY27 budget. So a couple of things. One is, at our last meeting, Mike, we talked about the idea that the budget modelling process, we're not really comfortable with the fact that FinCom are doing all the budget modelling, and that the approach taken by the finance team in the town is not the same, and we're using different sort of metrics and different sort of terminologies.
So in response to that, John and I have been working on a model that we'd like to share with you, if that's okay.
Sure, yeah.
And it is a work in progress. I feel like I'm going back in time to when we didn't have an accountant by our side, but she's just away on vacation right now.
Right.
So we're working on this, and when Hung-Wah comes back from vacation, we'll get her involved in this. So the top part of this is similar to what you have seen before. Our non-school budget at the top, then our actually I shouldn't say non-school, but top line, everything except for regional assessment. Third line down, our total expenses, and then our personal property and real estate taxes, next line down, and then adding in, and these numbers I believe coincide with what you have, so they should so far. These numbers are pulled right from ClearGov. And then our 2.5% increase, which is the nearly 705,000, to get us to the levy limit, or from the levy limit. And then we had estimated, the next three numbers are estimates that we're using and have been consistently. A new growth at 181K, local receipts at 1.7 million, and local, other state aid at 400 and just shy of 420,000, getting us to an FY27 levy limit of just over 29 million. Our debt exclusion, now at one point I'd seen 600,000, 650,000. What's in there right there? 724,960. That's our actual debt exclusion from DLS. So I've put that into this model to get us to a maximum allowable levy of 29,807,466.
But that was FY26 though, right, Mike? That 27, 24. So the actuals DLS numbers from.
But I don't believe it's changed. I don't think we've had anything fall off since FY26. As I looked at those numbers.
And our assessor confirmed that.
Yeah. and we ran that number past the, past our assessor. So what we had for excluded debt was, there was a bond from 2004 for water of 71,000, just over. And then there was three different excluded debt amounts that were school-related. One for Douglas Gates for just about 601,000 that was in 2020. And then in 2023, 2024, there was another just shy of 38,000 for Douglas Gates. And then
38,000?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll give this to you so you have the exact numbers. And then the following year, 15,000 also for Douglas Gates, totaling 724,960 in excluded debt.
So this is for 26, right?
This is for FY '27. This is off the DLS's.
It seems hard to believe it'd be exactly the same
Yeah,
number 2
that's
years in a
exactly
row.
what we have for 26.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think any of this excluded debt has fallen off.
It changed every other year. Every other year it decreased.
Right, that's because we had excluded debt that fell off.
Fall off or paid down? Because it's not gonna
Paid down.
pay down. I'm not understanding that the school was only,
So I will go back, again, this is
Yeah.
us putting together models so we could discuss it
school was
tonight.
more than $600,000.
Yeah, I thought
Gary's saying yes. It was significantly more than 600,000.
we would have had to vote
Yeah, it
these
was.
specifically for
Total
these to
cost is
stick.
117 million. Excluding state, you know, you're talking.
Which was 35%,
70-something million, I think.
is where we got to, and then we divided that and we took
And you take our
15% of that. Just, I guess unless I'm reading this wrong, I don't know how to read this, but I mean, there's no way we did this within 2.5. That had to be a debt exclusion vote,
It was.
right? And it was,
If you remember, we had a long discussion about, we could have done it within levy.
we
at
could
the
have done it
time,
within, and
We said no.
and Gene Kangas wanted to do it within,
But we said no.
but I'm trying to, that doesn't make any sense.
That's the debt. Remember, that's the debt service.
That's what I want to know. So if that's the
It's
debt
not-
service,
it's not
that would
the-
make
it's
sense.
not a debt amount,
It's
it's a
not
debt
the actual
service.
debt amount.
Right,
Okay,
yeah,
it's a debt
yeah.
service amount. Okay.
Right,
So
and
that might,
and
that'll
that's the
make
amount
sense.
that is the excluded debt.
Yeah.
And throughout through the fall and winter, we've talked about 600 or 650,000, estimating what fell off. I can't see it on the DLS website that any of that has.
Well, no, they wouldn't
gone.
even know that yet, would they? Because they wouldn't know that until we reported it. This would all be coming from the debt tables, I think, this number. And I thought the number that Hongwa gave me was like 650, something like that, was the estimate. That's what
And
John
she
Ryan been
may, she
working
may
on.
be right. I'm working, to come up with a model to discuss tonight in her absence. When
Right,
she
but-
comes back, I'll confirm those numbers. But this is what I
Yes.
pulled off of DLS today.
Yeah, okay.
So you pulled that off of DLS, which would have been as of 6:30
But yeah, but for
26.
FY26,
numbers, right?
yeah. Whereas we're looking at an FY27 model.
Right.
We're trying to estimate numbers, so we need to put in there what we think it's going to be. for
Yeah, what we're
FY27.
estimating it to be.
Right. So,
And that's fine. I can plug
Yeah.
the 600 or the 650 back in there. Just to show you the rest of this model, just for discussion, because I thought that was the purpose they
Right.
wanted.
but the other thing I don't understand this, Mike, is the levy, PP and RE. That is what you think the tax will be for FY27. That's our levy. That's what you're saying. That's our levy for FY27.
Which one are you looking at?
Line 4.
Line 4 is the total expenses.
No. I'm
Three.
the 28,196,591.
Yep.
So you're saying
so
that's
that's our levy limit. So that's not
our old levy limit. That's not.
That's
last-
off of that.
correct. That's our old levy
Okay,
limit,
it's last year's
and that's
levy
what's
limit.
being used to calculate the 2.5%.
So where's the levy? What's the levy for 27?
let me keep going down.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Sure.
So you get down to the yellow box, which is your maximum allowable levy.
Right.
You're right off the DLS calculator at about 30 million.
Right.
Okay. If you'd scroll just a little bit and you look at the bottom, right, stop right there. Okay. So on the top line there, I've got overlay reserve. We know we're not paying anything, in other words, adding anything to the overlay reserve this year. We don't need to.
Right.
I talked with the assessor. We could, if we wanted to, pull $100,000 out of the levy. And I know that had a lot of discussion last year, and I believe we're in a position where we could pull $100,000 out if we needed to. I don't think we need to, but we could. So
Right.
that's
But
the only
it
reason
wouldn't really help us, because that going to free cash, right, which we can't really use that for the budget purpose. Apart from for, warrant articles saying.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I put that there just to demonstrate that's what we could do.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Next line down, that's just out of the worksheet that we use to look at what are our local receipts and state aid, and that's about 2.1 million. And then coming down, again, showing the school assessment, the rest of the operating budget. Bonding, what I'm showing is, I think in your model you showed that we were bonding $2 million. With the free cash position we're in, we may not need to do that, may not want to do that. And I'll show you why I say that when we get down to the bottom. We know, I don't have the exact amount that for CPC, but I know that Recreation's looking for $300,000 out of CPC for the playground equipment, and then we're looking at $144,000 for the roof for Town Hall. I know it's a little more than 444, but I know it's at least that amount that's being applied for through CPC. So I put that into the model. About $1,000 out of the local transportation network for a total of 4.4 million of other funding sources. And then, which gets us to a total down in the bold of 33,253,275. If you subtract the 4.4 million from that, that's where you end up with that middle number of taxation. And I think that's what you're trying to get at.
Right.
28.8 million in taxation. And that's where you would.
So a bit of what the capital plan on there, 2.141 million.
Yes.
Is that balanced out by free cash, CPC funds, TNC, and overlay reserve?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep. So I've applied the 444 in CPC and the 1.7 in free cash to apply those all towards the capital plan.
And the 100,000 overlay reserve.
And the 100,000, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that really doesn't affect the levy calculation in fact, because it's balanced out.
Those don't, correct.
Yeah.
Those are balanced out.
Right.
Which leave us, if you buy into the rest of that model, leaves us with excess levy capacity of just over $950,000. And if you go down just a little further, I want to talk about free cash right there. So the policy is to leave 5% free cash, which would be just over 1.5 million. We know our free cash position right now is just shy of 4.3 million. If we use the 1.7 in free cash to apply that towards the town meeting articles, the capital plan and other things like the 300,000 for road construction, which generally we ban. We could do that. I didn't do that in this model. But if you apply that 1.7, then it ends up with about 2.6 million remaining in free cash, which means we've got about $1 million excess free cash above our policy limit of 5%. And that's all I'm trying to demonstrate in this.
Yeah, I think that's a different discussion about how we fund capital items. Is a different discussion. I mean, personally, I think we should bond them because we should be paying for those over the life of the item, just as a matter of policy. But I mean, but we can debate that. I think at another occasion. It's a different conversation. I think.
Well,
Right.
that changes the budget.
Right. And I was really just trying to show you a model.
Sure.
So
But if you're buying a fire truck that's going to last 10 years.
I think it depends on what it is. If
Yeah.
it's a lawnmower, We don't need to bond that. Maybe,
Agreed.
certainly if it's a fire truck, we
Yeah.
have to bond that. We don't
Yeah.
have the kind of cash for it.
Yeah, so,
And we can also bond through debt exclusion on equipment.
yeah,
So we don't need to bond
yeah,
the way we normally do. We could add, we could add debt exclusion questions to the ballot in May.
yeah. So based on your assumptions, Mike, so you're about 100,000 off from our model in terms of the excess capacity, I think. So the question is,
Your model says what?
I think 1.1 million maybe. You have it in front of you, John, now?
Mine, I think I changed my, yeah, actually I have 1.10,
Yeah.
yeah, 1.1
You
column.
got one, yeah. So the question is, what are the disagreement points, I suppose, there between this model and our model?
Yeah, and we may want to sit down as we did before and put the two models up on the screen and go through
Yeah.
line by line.
Well, yeah.
But I was more trying to demonstrate what you were asking for
Yeah,
is,
no. I like the layout of this better because it's a better. To me, it's more logical than the way we had it before,
right,
and it's something we can actually look at and debate
right. And I,
different lines.
and I took your point from Budget Saturday seriously about, we've got to have common language.
Yeah,
One thing that, sometimes if you hold right there, sometimes if you look under where it says funding sources, second one down, where it says local receipts and state aid,
yeah,
some people refer to that as revenues. And I don't think that's an accurate term.
okay,
We should term it what it is, local receipts and state aid, because that's exactly where those are coming from. Whereas in the top half of this model, we're just looking at the operating budget without getting into the warrant articles, the free
Yeah.
cash, the CPC, and that's where we're looking at, if you go up to the top, we're really looking at revenues versus expenses.
Yeah.
And that's what we were trying to demonstrate at Budget Saturday.
Right.
Whereas, as we further fill out the rest of the model and bring in the whole CIP or the capital improvement plan, then we talk about how does CPC hit this, how does free cash hit this, how does bonding affect it, and where does it leave us with a free cash position?
Yeah.
And so the bottom half of the sheet fills out the rest of the whole budget model.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have two questions. So there's that 127K at cell C16. What is that?
That's the difference between the red box and the green box. So total revenues of 31.2 million, and subtract the total expenses out of ClearGov of 31.1 million, and that leaves you with the 127K. Again, not looking at the whole budget model, but just the operating budget of revenue versus expenses.
And on the DESI site, there's a template for a budget like this. Have you guys looked at that by any chance?
I have not looked at the DESI one, but there is one through DLS, and we've used that model.
Maybe that's probably what I'm,
Yes, and that's where,
it's a spreadsheet from hell, but
yeah,
yeah.
it is. And this is actually a simplified version of that.
Okay.
There's another worksheet that we use to get to just the one line at the very bottom, the local receipts and state aid. There's about 30 different lines that get us to that point, and that's another spreadsheet that was developed by DLS, which is very cumbersome, hard to use, but that's what gets us to that number.
Okay.
I think great progress. Actually, I think this is much better, and I think this is the way we should approach it. It's really, I think the town finance team should be presenting this to us, and then we should do our own pressure testing of that as we
Yep.
are just doing.
Yeah, we agree.
And that's a better way, I think, of approaching it. I think.
Yeah, happy to do that.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I just, under A8, new growth, and then it says local receipts, and then you have new growth on the overlay. If this is gonna become, if you go to the 8, right, that's gonna confuse people. I mean, we understand language, but like calling that new growth and then having overlay, and then having that new growth, that's kind of that clarifying that language for people.
Yeah, it's just like a new. Yeah.
It's not really new growth, it's local receipts, which would include new growth, correct? But it's,
No.
I mean, it's not new growth.
Are you talking about
It
the
is-
181,000?
No,
it's new
the
growth.
1.7.
In column A versus column B.
Right.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
column A says new growth, then you got local receipts. Above local receipts, it says new growth.
I see what you're saying. So the far left column, yeah, I gotta rework that.
Yes, just
Yeah.
reword it so
Yeah,
it's
no,
not.
no problem. Yeah, the only new growth is the 181,000. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So
great.
again, we put this
Yeah,
together
yeah,
today,
that's fine.
just to have
I'm just
something to
saying, if we're gonna
demonstrate to
do
you.
this and we're gonna go with this is fine, but make sure that if I'm looking at and I don't understand it, I'm like, oh, how can we have new growth in both columns, and two different lines?
We may use some sort of glossary
Yeah,
to
So-
Yeah, and this needs some cleaning up. This is something we
Yeah.
just put together
Okay.
today,
Yeah.
just
Alright,
to have the discussion.
yeah.
No, I mean, this is actually what we asked for, so I appreciate that, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, this is what we asked for.
So this would be coming from TA's office, then we would use our model.
And we'd say, well, why is ours different to yours?
Right,
And
exactly.
we could then argue the toss about which is the correct number to put
And
in
then we
there.
end up in one place.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
then, we've double checked each
Yeah.
other.
So can we iterate further on this though, before?
Sure, yeah, go ahead, yeah. Yes, iterate away.
No. I mean, I want to take a look at it, because I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
like, for
yeah.
example,
Yeah.
people are generally looking for all the columns and numbers to subtract or be related to each other. There's a few spots in here where you've just got numbers in the middle of columns that we don't know if they're related to the numbers above or if they're a placeholder. So that's going to be, it should be immediately logical to how each number came here.
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you guys understand it because you've been looking at it, just like how we understand ours, because we've been
Right.
looking at it all along.
Yeah, so some are calculated and some are inputs, right?
Right.
That's one way you could do it.
So-
You could color code it for that.
Where do we land with the difference of, what, $200,000 on this levy? You got 1.1 capacity and Mike's got 950.
So what I think we need to do is, a while back, John and I, and Tony and Hung Hua met in my office, and we were able to take Tony's model and what we were working with and look at what are the differences. I think that's the way to come back to that and answer some of those things and push and pull back at it and then bring it up here.
Yeah.
And then, come to a common language. The other thing I'm interested to hear back, is there any language up there that, and I understand that the far left column, I gotta clean that up, but is there any language up there that's not clear or that we need to come to common language on it? Because I understand the concern that you raised back at Budget Saturday.
Yeah, I think, well, personally, I think I need to look at it a bit more offline and
Yeah.
That's, sure, make me do it now, but you can look at it offline. Yes, can
Yeah.
we look at it offline, I think?
Is that what you meant by iterate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
You want to
not
iterate.
right now,
I want to look at it offline, you want to iterate.
Yeah.
offline.
So what we'll do is we'll clean this up a little bit and
Yeah.
we'll send this model to you
Yeah,
this week.
Yeah.
And then if you could send us your latest model, and then I think we should be getting to the same place, but even if it's by different means, and then be able to have a conversation about what the difference is. And clearly, there's some different assumptions in here
Right.
relative to the numbers,
Yeah.
but the process should get us to the same place.
yeah, and assumptions, I mean, look, it's all our best guesses, right, around the table here, so we can all sort of weigh in on some of those things and say, where do we come to, based on the data we have.
So we're at $1 million. We're gonna split the baby right now and say we're at $1 million
I'm
excess
still,
level.
if we're above $1 million.
So actually, what did you put in for your estimate of local receipts? Yeah, you put in 1.7, right?
Yeah,
We have more than
1.737.
that now.
Yeah, isn't that traditionally low for us? That's part of why the levy, well, what it has been in the past, it's been why it's so different.
Yeah, I mean, we may be more conservative on our local receipts. We traditionally do come in a little more conservative on it because we never want to overestimate our local receipts.
But when that propagates through the model, right, that's, if you're underestimating local receipts, you're gonna overestimate the tax levy requirement. Right.
Requirement, yeah.
Understood, yeah.
So,
It's Tony, I think in your budget model, I think you probably had local receipts at 2 million.
2.6, I think, in my mind.
yeah, and again, this is
Yeah.
where we get back to definition, local
Yeah.
receipts, are you combining anything with
I
local
was
receipts?
combining local receipts and state aid at 2.6, I think.
So,
Yeah, we have it at 2.1.
So you have 1.7 plus 4, I think, right there,
right.
the bottom two rows of
Yeah.
that section.
So yeah,
Yeah.
still about
Yeah.
500.
So we're about 500K higher than you are on revenues.
Yeah, so we should, I mean, that's a topic for discussion, I think, as we move through this. I mean, yeah, because we know what it was. The last 2 years, we've been consistently much higher than we budgeted.
And I know we've talked about this before. Do we have that further back, like
Yeah, I'm
that we
looking
could
at it.
trend over 5, 6, 7, 8 years to
I'm
really
looking at it right
understand?
now,
I
yeah.
haven't got,
Okay.
you have that? I
Yeah.
don't have that offhand.
So I went through all the recapitulation, can't say that word, sheets. And they
Okay.
have last year's actuals in there. I think it's like buried in one column that you wouldn't even be looking for it, but it's there. So there's a lag on it, but yeah, it's in there. So 25 was, local receipts actual was 2.174 million. 24 was 2.497 million. And that's not including state aid. And this year, I forecasted 2.174. I can't remember if you agreed with that or not, Tony.
FY23, we budgeted
26?
2.132 million. 23 I'm looking at.
Oh,
And we received 2.747. So we're
Yeah.
about,
Wow.
800,000 or 700,000, no,
Which is
600,000.
how we ended up with a free cash balance where it is.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that also,
Because we're,
Yeah,
you know,
we've talked
we've been
about
pretty
that.
tight on expenses.
Yeah.
But we have some expenses roll back, and you can't be so tight, you need some rollback.
Right.
Otherwise, you're budgeting too tight.
Right.
But then our revenues have been higher.
Yeah.
And we haven't been able to get
And that's
a
because
handle on
And we
why
still
that
haven't
is.
figured out why, right?
Yeah.
This is one reason.
Well, I mean, I think one of the reasons is because, it's because of, it's a guesstimate,
Mhm.
right? And Mike's being conservative.
Yep.
And today's model, right, up until recently, we were just taking that number. But this year's model, they're being less conservative based on history. But I guess for me, I don't know how we get to less conservative if we don't understand how we got there.
Mhm.
That's what I struggle with.
What does that mean?
Well, if
How did
because
we?
it's, how did we get there?
What
Because
when we look-
what assumptions did you make to get
When we
less
looked-
conservative?
When
Yes.
we looked at that in retrospect, we said, well, where's the extra money come from? It was spread right across the board, wasn't it? You remember?
Mhm.
It was between meals taxes and hotel taxes and motor vehicle excise
Yeah.
stuff. It's like a whole range of things. There's no one
Smorgasbord.
thing
Mhm.
that it actually came from. It was a whole bunch of stuff.
And I will say this year, honestly, just in croissants, our meal tax is gonna go up because that place is slamming every day. She's sold out every day.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's new, you know what I mean?
My wallet's
Our-
empty after that place opened.
Yeah, so I
But
mean,
we're not really forecasting the growth. We're just.
but it's the
forecasting-
meals tax on that.
No, but to your point though, it's like, where did it come from? It didn't come from anywhere. It's, the estimate has always been low and the reality has always been higher. And
Right, and then it's just, understanding,
Yeah, but
That-
what is the reality? Like,
The
why are
reality
we always?
is the numbers right here that.
Oh
we're
yeah, but I
looking
mean,
at.
like, what ended up being that reality? Was it just we sold 500,000 extra croissants? Like, do we know that? I think is the
I
problem.
think that's the
problem.
Like, for a long time.
And I'm not
when
asking
we
you
were-
for it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying I
Doesn't-
think that's
I
the
don't
problem.
understand
I'm
why
asking-
it matters.
Because for a long time, we were pretty spot on with those numbers of local receipts.
Because we end up with too much. and we
Before
tax too
recently,
much.
right?
Okay, so.
And I think my problem has been, for the last 3 or 4 years, we have an abundance of free cash. And I'm afraid to spend it, because I'm afraid someday someone's gonna knock on the door and say, joke's on you, you were right the whole time, we have too much free cash.
Exactly.
And Susan's nodding her head.
You're doing this wrong, and you owe us $2 million.
Yeah, exactly, so, I know we
Yeah.
keep getting certifications from the
These
state, but I'm
assumptions
like,
you've been making for 4 years,
Yeah.
we found a mistake.
so I
I
just,
hear you.
I need a little bit, but that's just me, that's
Mhm.
just how my brain works, so,
And we're not trying to cause trouble, we're just,
I understand.
okay.
You're doing your job.
You
I
give me the
totally
side
get
eye
it.
there. I'm
No,
like,
no, no.
All right.
But again, always
if you
better to
just
have
go-
free cash than not
Yes, it
not
is true.
having any free cash.
If you just go back into local receipts actual,
Mhm.
and the lovely recapitulation document,
We call that recap.
recap, thank you. That's a great
Mike's
idea.
like,
There
I
you go.
can't say it either.
There's
but
the guy who does
yeah,
it every
good.
day.
Recap document,
Yeah.
and you compare to where our estimates are, there's a $500,000 delta for the past few years.
Okay, it's the past few, John. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say like 2020, 2021 is probably anomaly and not
I think we
reliable.
did find, to Maria's point, a year back, I can't remember, but we looked at this, and we saw what you were talking about, and then all of a sudden it deviated.
All of a sudden, yes, yes. So, so I think, to me, so I tend to be more conservative. So I'm looking at Mike's number and saying 955. But I do know that at Select Board, when you first kind of went through all of this, Kristen said, we need to talk about how we should be budgeting. Should we be more conservative? Should we, you know, if we're over budgeting on certain things, should we make assumptions differently? Because we've always budgeted a certain way. We've budgeted very conservatively, and I think that we've budgeted our revenues very conservative. And so, you know, how to, based on all of this information, are we doing it right? Do we need to tweak it?
Were there any
Right.
like structural changes that happened in the year or two where that change in how it's calculated happened? Like you said, there were several years back where it was maybe the other way. And
Well, I
then,
think COVID was different, right? I mean, it was before my time, but I mean, for FinCom, but I mean, but
'cause I just wonder if maybe there was some, because local receipts is made up of so many different parts. Maybe
Yeah.
there's something that was never
I think.
calculated within it, and then suddenly they start including it. And if we could audit that recap sheet, maybe we can see something that appears, or is there somewhere else
we
that we're,
looked at
yeah.
that. We couldn't see anything jump out.
Yeah, I mean.
that's what we never
No,
have
I-
visibility
I-
in
There's
this
greater
document.
I can
we
look
look
at
budgets
at.
than mine that are saying this is okay.
Yeah.
Relax, you can spend your free cash, so.
I mean,
Well, yeah, the other thing that bothers
Oh,
me,
I gotta go, bye.
the other thing that bothers me about it is that, so we're different by 500,000 between Mike's model and our model in terms of receipts, you know, but we're still only 100,000 different in terms of the end result. So what else is different in there to rebalance that out? So there's obviously some different assumptions built in here on your
So
model
that's
that's
more
not
of
in
a-
our
like an
model.
offline.
We
you're
need
up
to have a little side-by-side comparison saying, okay, then,
With Hung Wan, you know,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys can
well, yeah.
figure that out and bring it back, yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
I mean, could one thing be, like to Tony's point, is with COVID, like with ARPA, with a lot of our funds being reimbursed during that time, that could have maybe
That boosted,
inflated.
definitely boosted our free cash, because that did happen. We had so much reimbursement through, it wasn't ARPA, it was the one before ARPA.
The
It was
rescue
ARPA, but
plan.
there was the emergency funds that
Yeah.
came out during COVID. And so much of our public safety budgets were reimbursed.
Right.
Right,
And then there were a lot of capital items over a 2-year period.
Yeah.
That normally would hit your capital plan, but we were able to
Right.
fund. So you get a little
That's-
bit of a lapse to,
right.
yeah, I think you're right.
No,
on
you're
that,
absolutely
Rajan.
right, Rajan.
Yeah.
That definitely happened, and that reimbursement gave us that first bump in free cash. But it keeps bumping, like it still is. You know, I expected after that first year or two of the bump, that at some point it was gonna level off, and we were gonna start getting normal free cash amounts again. But in any event, so, I mean, I think this is making progress. I guess I would want, because we've just said we've gotta add this debt to the FY '27 budget, '28 budget, and we have that list of other stuff, we really need to know where this is. We need to tighten that up, right? Because now all of a sudden we're adding, how much in debt?
Well, no, we had factored in 200,000 in debt servicing in our model.
For the fire station stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right,
That's at 200,000. It's
So
not,
we put
not
it in
it's not in
ours.
ClearGov.
okay.
It may be slightly more than that now, I've seen the numbers, but.
But it needs to go into ClearGov.
But-
Yeah.
When will we get an official number from our finance guys on what that is?
I guess we need to go back to Hilltop via Emily and have them do us a new debt table.
Right.
I think, I mean, I don't want to speak out of line here, but I think considering that we are putting on that's the wrong phrase, considering we're putting on more debt, and it is a large capital project of incredible size, I think we need to have that number sooner and so
Yeah,
that
so
we
Mike,
can play
you
with the
take that
forecasting.
and get
So it's
the
two
design you-
numbers.
Exactly, so for
It's-
whatever Maria and the
Right.
fire station team is
So it's
signing
the
off on.
numbers we need for the budget for debt service for next year for what's in our article for March 9th, the 2 articles,
Yep.
right? And then more importantly, for forecasting, it's whatever right now what we have for total completion of the project, number $31 million is what it is right now.
Yeah, when we had it before, but that was like a year ago.
Yeah, and things have changed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
made a lot of assumptions a year ago that may have changed.
We need
Yeah.
to start, I mean, it's gonna be such a big number, we need to start laying that in now.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. Yeah, okay.
It's not that big a number, but It's been,
This is great. This is good progress, I think, Mike. Thank
So
you.
we'll send you this model this week. If you
Yeah.
could send your latest model,
Yeah,
take a
mine
chance.
actually hasn't changed since we last did it, actually.
Yeah, I just don't know when's the last time I saw it.
Yeah.
So if I can just
Yeah.
get your latest one, we'll send you this one
Yeah.
in the next couple of days, and then we just take a little time. We'll look over yours compared to ours, you do the same with ours
Yeah.
compared to yours, and then why don't we get together in my office and do like we did before, and then, check where our assumptions are different, and then,
Yeah.
and maybe do the same thing,
Yeah.
like the beginning of the budget year next year,
Yeah.
and then come out and work it out.
And hopefully, once these are both done, that becomes a little easier
Yeah.
to make assumptions and add the numbers, and
Mhm.
we're not recreating the wheel, and so, we get this done a little earlier and we have a better idea.
yeah,
'Cause
we need to
next
use the
year-
Yeah.
same spreadsheet. If we're gonna have two different ones, it just needs to be the same spreadsheet.
Right.
Yeah, I suppose that's right, yeah.
But I don't follow you when you
Not the
say.
same
Yep.
spreadsheet, but the same,
Same template. If,
Cells are called the same things, at least,
Yeah.
if not
Same
in the
language.
same cell position.
same language, yeah,
Yeah.
same structure of the spreadsheet. We may make different assumptions, and that's when we'll come to discuss.
I don't know if I.
Okay, so then what's the point of two models?
No, I guess I don't understand, because they went through all the effort to do this versus then just taking our model and putting their numbers into it.
Yeah.
Which is what the other thing they could have done. I think that the administration needs to have whatever they're gonna work on for their model. And when the budget gets presented to us, that model gets presented to us, and we put the numbers in our model, and then that's where we sit down and say, okay, our model's showing, your model's showing, and where are the differences in our assumptions.
So
Yeah,
wait
as
a
long
sec,
as the same
wait a sec. So we're just cross-checking their spreadsheet?
We're making sure that their numbers and we're just making sure that we're all on the same page.
There's multiple points where we can dispute or discuss what the entry should be in that spreadsheet.
And we're not
I think we need to make
checking,
sure
we
we have
just
the
need
same
to-
terminology from between both spreadsheets.
Yes.
They don't need to look exactly the same in terms of their structure, I don't think. I think that's...
Oh. That's gonna get you into trouble when the columns are
I thought that's
different.
what I said last week and then got pushback from everyone on the board, that in fact, they do have to match
Exactly.
exactly, or else we're just making assumptions.
Exactly.
Because I made that same point where I'm like, I don't mind how they do it as long as when we do calculate our numbers, we end up at the same numbers. And I think everyone tried to correct to say what John's saying, that it has to be
We don't
identical,
wanna, we
or
don't
else
wanna
you don't
debate the
wanna have to-
structure
yeah.
and the math of the model,
right.
right? We don't wanna debate the terminology about the model. What we may wanna debate are the assumptions that go into the model. That's where there's all the variability. Nobody knows what the assumptions are gonna be. Nobody knows the future. So we're gonna have different inputs on that.
Yeah.
That's what we would pressure test. Here is a more conservative interpretation. Here's a more aggressive interpretation. We don't want to be saying, well, what do you really mean by that cell? We
Well,
don't.
I think that's what we have to hash out now. We have to figure this out,
Okay.
get to a point where we're all on the same page. And we're close. We're a lot closer than we were last week,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we hash out, so that next year we get to a point where we're just putting in numbers. We're doing our numbers, they're doing their numbers, and we're looking at.
Into two copies of the same. Yeah, all right.
This is not a hill I'm gonna die on. If you all can agree on what the hill it needs to look at, I'm great. I don't care what it looks like.
Okay.
I just wanna
I
make
think-
sure
Personally-
the numbers work.
I think
Personally.
Joe understands what I'm talking about,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I was taking
Okay.
the opposite
I've-
position,
I've-
but I am happy to see it in a way that makes more sense compared to what we normally look at, and
Okay.
I see merit in both ways.
I'm fine if this is the official spreadsheet, right? That's I'm fine with
Of course, it should be. Yeah.
Yeah, but I reserve the right to do my own spreadsheet, which I can look at,
Okay, and I understand that, but I think what we were trying to do here was to come up with a spreadsheet that we both understand
right.
and the
And
townspeople can understand.
this could be the one.
Yes, it's a start.
It's not
start
that
one.
pretty at the moment. It needs to be prettied up a little
Right.
bit, I think. But yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the very least, I think, the columns or the cells being identifiable, like
Yeah.
other cost/state aid combines the exact same items. So
Yeah.
when you're talking about the column or the cell for that, we're at least talking about the same number per
Right.
item.
And
That's
the source
what I
is-
see as most important, but
Yeah.
the structure, it is nice to be able to look at the same exact thing and cross-reference.
Yeah.
But I think as long as we have the same terminology, we're most of the way there.
Yeah, and the sources need to be identified so we can see where that number came from. Is it an estimate? Is it from DLS or whatever?
Okay.
Yeah.
I
motion
agree.
to stop talking about that.
So I agree with Tony's statement. He reserves the right, to do his own thing. And no, I do, because I reserve that right too.
Of course.
And we need to come together and talk this through. But I wouldn't impose my model on Tony or all of you.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should impose it, as long as we're getting, and there's a lot of points here that we need to work out, right? But I don't think we have to force the same model on everyone.
I think ultimately what we want to do is, we need to be consistent so that when Tony and I get hit by a bus, 2 other people can hop on the committee and there's the chart and this is what it looks like and it's consistent. Or when, you two run off and go to the beach or something, same thing. We always, we have to, what we haven't had in this town since Jennifer left, right? And Jennifer here was many years, so it was always very consistent, is the FinCom and the TA's office, the administration, having being on the same page. And we need to be, and it needs to be consistent, so anybody can step in, do a learning curve, but understand it, right? Because, you reserve the right to have a spreadsheet, your own. I reserve the right to use what you guys give me, because I don't know how to do those spreadsheets. I can't make my own model, you know what I mean? So I want to make sure that we have something that's here, that the FinCom uses, the administration uses, and makes it easier. We don't have to constantly be recreating every year.
Yeah.
Maybe it's complicated, but what if we use the same template on a separate sheet and you ported the numbers from whatever cell to it, so that you're working on your own model, you're working on your own model, but there is a sheet that shows the same view.
This is all workable.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, good. One final comment on FY27, a ClearGov comment, which we got last week, was the notes in ClearGov. It seems that last year's notes are still in there, and it's not clear which year they refer to. So we're wondering about having some sort of protocol in ClearGov. So when people put notes in, they put a date of the note and which fiscal year it refers to.
Yeah,
so
we actually noticed that same issue. And so what happened, and we've discussed this, so what happened was when the budget templates were sent out to the departments, Hunghwa left all the notes in from last year, which I think is a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But what needs to happen is next year when the departments put their stuff in, is they need to either clear what was in there and put new notes, or like you say, date the old ones and put the new ones. I think it'd be better to just clear the old
I
ones.
agree. Just clear it.
But it gives them a reference point for, here's what I was thinking when I put it in. It's been a year now.
Yeah.
But have the individual who's putting in the budget clear it, put their new notes based on whatever has changed since last year.
Yeah.
We did, Hunghwa, John, and I did discuss that, and we noticed there was some carryover notes.
Yeah.
And that was part of the confusion on the recreation budget at Budget Saturday. There was some old notes there that weren't cleaned up, and it was confusing to all of us. I have since cleared out the old notes, and it's up to date, but we'll make sure that happens moving forward, so it's clear what's being, the numbers referenced to the notes.
All right. Great.
Yeah, because there's notes in 3 places too. I don't know if you're referring to all 3, but like on the main view, when you click into any item, there's notes, and that's where the majority of notes have been.
Right.
Those don't have a timestamp, and those are the ones that get copied into our spreadsheets that we were looking at. That, those are the only notes most of our committee saw, unless you were in ClearGov. But then there's another tab for justification and rules, and then another tab for comments. So there's like 3 piecemeal places where I feel like they're kind of overlapping in their duties. Is there like guidance on when to use each of those? I mean,
if it's from what you're saying, if it's easier because the notes, the notes that everyone saw are more accessible when there's a download, we could just make a protocol that everybody puts their notes in that area.
Right.
So you know where to look for them and they're consistent.
yeah.
We can do that.
What's unfortunate is the comments is the only one that puts a timestamp in when it's entered. But I think that's the most valuable thing, is just, if you're putting in a note, just put the date as the first, 1/ whatever the day is, and then your note, and then it's easy to track. That'd be the,
We'll come up with a standard protocol for that and let you know what it is.
Perfect.
So that at least we can, know that we're all looking at the same thing.
Yeah. Great. Thanks.
Anything else for us?
I think we're good. Thank you, Mike.
Okay,
And
you're welcome.
John. Yeah.
Wait, actually, it's just the last thing. So we have that list of items that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
do we have any new inputs on the budget? No, not since Budget Saturday.
Just a couple of quick things. One of your notes was about the recreation, and I did clear up the notes on that, so it should be clearer. Another one is the 15,000 for the veterans budget.
Yeah.
We did go back and get with the veterans agent, and that is the amount that we should put in there. Even though everything wasn't used in a prior year, he has had some people coming on needing benefits, and that's what's projected to be needed in FY27. Not knowing what might change, but that's our best estimate at this point. Those are the only things that I know
So
definitively
just
so
notes,
far.
there's been no dollar amount changes to the budget. We're still where we were on Budget Saturday.
With one exception, and that is, I asked Hanwha to add $10,000 into the FY27 legal budget, and I included Tony on that note, and that was because there is a possibility of a new union starting up in town.
And then we added the 10,000 for annual town meeting in the select board's budget.
Okay.
And I think we discussed that at Budget Saturday.
We did, we discussed that. I just didn't know if any of the changes that we discussed that we all agreed to, the entertainment, not entertainment.
Yeah, we reduced the,
Appreciation.
That was reduced.
Okay.
by 1,000.
Yep.
So there are new numbers in that budget. Are we gonna wait to like download that until
Well,
we have some meetings with some department heads?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, we don't start voting yet, do we, on these?
No, but we need to like get, I think we need to get a handle on where we land, right? Because there was some of the stuff that we were gonna look at.
Right,
So the
The
only
treasurer
ones,
training, the
The-
tax,
so this is a list of outstanding questions that we had.
right, which
Um,
might just answer the question on the vet.
So the vet, we say that's correct.
Yeah.
yes.
And then at Retcom, Hillary just messaged me saying she will come in to meet with us, but she'd like you there, Mike, because she feels you have the strategy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was, we had suggested to Hillary 2:10 for that meeting.
Yeah, which meeting was that? Or do we know the date? If not,
Yeah,
I'll-
yes, it's February the 10th.
Okay.
And that's when we're gonna have fire and police as well.
And also fire and police that night. And we
Who
will
is
put-
the liaison to the police department from
Sorry?
FinCom? John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and DPW confirmed for the 17th of February.
Okay, so if you go back up to annual town meeting, $10,000, that's been added, right, Rajon? You said that?
Yeah, that's been added.
So that's been added, so that's added.
Okay.
We reduced the executive offices by $1,000,
Yes, down
so
to
we
2,000.
decreased it by that.
Yep.
Retcom coming in, so that's,
Yeah.
the FinCom, did we finalise that?
We're just gonna look and we don't
Yeah.
have that information yet, but,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
The accountant training, right there, training and,
Insolvency, yeah.
yeah, that number
That
is
has
pretty
not
high.
been changed yet. We haven't had a chance to
Okay,
discuss that
we
one
discussed
yet.
that.
Yeah.
The assessor, the property cards, did you talk to the assessor about whether the property cards or like why they fell off? Because they're not there.
And it's a cost to it, I guess.
And is there a
Yeah.
cost to it?
Yes, it started that discussion. It's not complete yet. There's going to be a change in the property card presentation, so that they're more easily accessible.
They're not accessible at all right now, right? They were there, they had all the information. and
Existing
then-
cards are, I mean, on the GIS system,
But it's not the property cards, which are different. They're, I
There's-
mean,
there's one for my house. Patriot or Catala is like a.
so is that new? Because that was not there.
It's a picture
Kristen-
from, several, like,
No,
owners
that's-
ago, but it's a property card.
And it has all the historical information on there?
Mine does too.
All of it?
Yeah,
I'm a little bit
I was looking at
historical.
them for properties we were
So I
looking at
find
for the
that
fire
bizarre
station
because-
just recently.
Kristen was talking about it 2 meetings ago. All of a sudden, because when we were looking at all these properties, I was trying to bring up property cards, and I couldn't get them. They just went away. Now they're back again?
I was looking at them 2 days ago.
Yeah, I looked at my house a couple days
I've been looking at them since I moved in 2023. I never saw them not there.
Okay.
to be investigated.
I'll go back and check on
Yeah.
that. But,
Yeah,
but,
and
but
ask
there-
Kristen, because I
Okay.
asked her
I remember she
first.
mentioned it, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought new ones weren't being done for several
This
years.
was,
I
I
thought that was
couldn't
the
get one
issue.
in 984 when we were looking. I could not get the property cards on that.
Yeah. Since then, I've looked at that property and
So-
pulled the property cards,
Property card
Patriot
came up.
Catalyst, all of them.
All right, so that's bizarre, because then it went away and now it came back. Okay. That's fine.
Okay.
Big head.
So the treasurer, there's a training budget issue question, I think.
about, the training budget, and then the
And
tax
tax title
title.
was-
Is the budgeted amount, are we gonna use it?
Right, I don't have those answers
Yeah.
yet.
Right, okay,
Okay.
we're gonna talk to the
Police and fire coming in,
Yeah.
DPW coming in, mosquito control,
We don't have the increase amount yet.
Are we
Last
gonna
year it
increase it
came
by
in.
5%
um,
to hold it, or?
Yeah, we can increase it by 5%. I believe it was early February when it came in last year.
Okay.
and community services, we thought the training was a bit high, I think.
Which one was that?
Community services,
She's on vacation.
training budget.
We'll have to come back to that because
Okay.
she's on vacation currently.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
okay, so then that's.
We're making some progress and some
Yeah,
changes.
yeah, good.
Okay,
Okay, thank you, Mike.
thanks,
Thank you,
Mike.
Rachel. Okay, next up,
School committee.
the school committee, anything? School committee? I know,
This actually is Liz.
Liz is online, right? Do you,
Liz, you want-
anything you want to add, Liz, for us, for school committee?
Hi, yeah, I would be happy to. So at our last meeting, we discussed, we're down to two options for the elementary reorganization that we've been talking about. And our final vote is going to be next week on the 22nd. So that'll be a big one. We also voted the calendar, and we have like the preliminary budget guidelines, but we don't have the budget set yet. Although I do believe that Sherry has sort of sent over to you what our A budget would look like in terms of an assessment roughly for the town of Boxborough, obviously enrollment depending. I did have a follow-up question for you, Tony. I know that we were looking at when the school committee could potentially come to the finance committee and present.
Yeah.
Peter asked if there was availability either March 3rd or 17th. I know Adam had floated the 10th. But I think that's not a great day for Peter, and he is the one who'll be putting the presentation together, most likely.
That seems fine for me, yeah. So, actually, you said March the 3rd?
Either the 3rd or the 17th, because you
Yeah.
guys are still meeting weekly, correct?
Yeah, they're weekly, yeah.
Yeah. And sorry I missed last week, I was in urgent care.
Yeah, okay, I'll make a note of that. So, what should we say? I mean, do you want to leave it open for either date, or do you want to fix the date now?
Let's fix a date now. I think that's going to be better.
Let's do the 3rd then.
3rd it is.
Yeah.
And I will email both Peter and Adam tonight.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Liz, can I ask a question? You said you're gonna vote on the 22nd?
Yes.
And that's gonna be on the final reorg plan. Does that include whether,
School choice.
huh?
School choice.
School choice, geographical? I
It
guess-
will include a guidance for that, so the first piece that we're going to vote on is either, have the essentially 5 different schools or 3 different schools, right? So that's part one of that. And then the plan also is to say, do we want this to be geographical, or like what's the guidance that we want to provide to the district? Because then they would take it, from there, and the focus would be very much on trying to either provide supports for disruption or minimize disruption. There's a lot of different moving pieces. And, for example, if we went to the geographical busing routes, yes, it would cut down time on routes, but we would need to consult with professionals who actually map out the geographical areas and try and keep the diversity of the community in mind when they do that as well.
Liz, can I ask you, so with the geographic, what is the driver behind that? Is that trying to maintain the current spread of students, or is it people choosing a school because they feel it's going to be teaching slightly differently? So I mentioned this last time, and it seems like shouldn't you decide how you're going to approach the schools as one type of methodology that's going to apply to all 3, or have 3 different experiments or 3 different types of methodologies? And then only in that latter case would you need a non-geographic based transportation solution, right? Because
Yeah,
otherwise
so
it doesn't make doesn't make any sense to ship people across town if they're getting the same type of teaching methodology.
Correct. My interpretation of, sort of the vote that we're looking at is, and mostly we're looking, these options, they do impact Boxborough in a lot of ways. For example, Pathways is probably going to leave Boxborough either way. But the primary sort of driver here is going to be like, do we keep the choice and not go to geographical, or do we go to geographical and just say, hey, look, we're going to take the best practices from all the schools and make a more homogeneous and make a more consistent, a teaching practice across the board. And I will say, after going to tour all of the elementary schools, and I saw the same lesson several times, being taught just in like very slightly different ways, there's already so much overlap within our schools. I think that there's only a very few things that really define the differences between the elementary schools. But it will be the part of sort of choosing whether we go geographical or not is going to be very intertwined with that. Are we saying, let's make this a more consistent teaching method across the board rather than having, this school focuses on, this particular set of skills, yada, yada.
It just seems like you aren't approaching that question head on. You're just using, and maybe this is the way people are used to talking about that concept, is through choice or no choice. But it just seems like that's not really being discussed. Are we having the same philosophy across the schools or not?
And from my perspective, honestly, the reason that we have not approached it head on is because it's such a divisive topic. Right. It is something that has really segregated the school community, and at the same time, there are people that are more unified around it. Like, you know what? We've gotten to this point. We can't have 6 different schools. So there's such a vast array of emotions. The school committee has been extremely purposeful in not leaning one direction or the other, and now is when we actually have to make a decision. So like now is when tensions are higher, and it is coming out that way. So we're being as diplomatic as we can in the way we approach it.
And just for somebody who was on the school committee a long time ago, it has been this way for school choice since before we regionalized. I mean, it was just, this has been forever, and there's not one school committee that's ever really wanted to go there. It's like third rail. It's like
it being taking away school choice.
Yes, whether or not it makes sense. Do we take it away? Do we go? It just, because of what Liz said, it just, you cannot. It's so divisive.
I'm not gonna lie. I have opinions, and it's physically painful for me to keep them.
Yes. Yeah. And it's hard for me, when I listened to it, it was hard for me because I came from Boxborough, and all my kids went to Blanchard, as did every other child in Boxborough. So we didn't have a choice. That was the school our kids went to. So for me, I'm like, wow, these people are all emotional about this, but I really do try to understand that this is where they've been for, many years, and they are very entrenched, as the Blanchard community is with Blanchard. It's just a little bit different because it hasn't been so much school choice; it's been more historical, and so.
And I got to tell you, there's been a lot of rumor that the school committee is just like rubber stamping at this point. I don't know if anybody listened to our last meeting. It is heated. We are very, the school committee is still very much undecided on which option we're going to be going with. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm going to drink a lot of coffee before our next meeting because I have a feeling it's going long.
Coffee.
All right, so here's one last hard question though. But I mean, so how can 5 schools be as economically feasible as 3 schools?
That is a great question. Overall, the economic and the flexibility benefit is significantly higher with the 3 schools. Because we have age banding, we have the ability to share more resources, and a lot of people are looking toward what is the exact cost savings? And it's not so much cost savings as cost avoidance. We're trying to avoid additional costs in the future because we know that even doing this, it's not going to get rid of these healthcare costs that are going up,
Sure.
you know, 15, 20% in a year. You know, we can't control these external forces. All we can do is try to adapt and make them better. So the 3 schools are going to be much more flexible, and there is a potential that if we go with, you know, option 4, I mean, really, if we go with either option, it's not going to fix anything. But there is a potential that if we go with the option for the 5 schools, that we then have to make more difficult decisions sooner than we would with the more flexible model.
Just a budget question, Liz. The number we received from the school committee for the Boxborough assessment, is that now fixed?
It's never fixed because it's based on enrollment. So it is our best guesstimate based on the numbers that we have. If Boxborough gets an influx and we have 30 extra students, or Acton gets, you know, so that's the thing, is that we can only control what we can control,
How
right?
quick? No, that's like a 3-year rolling thing, right? Isn't it?
I think what we're trying to, I think what Tony's asking is, for this budget year,
Yeah.
is this budget fixed? Is this number fixed? Because it's a 3-year rolling average, so if we get
Yeah.
30 new kids that start in January, and it's an October date that we're using the rolling average, that's the average, that's the number we're using, right?
It's what we're anticipating. I can't tell you that it is signed, sealed, delivered because we haven't voted the budget yet.
Understood. But I mean,
But it is what we're tracking, and
Yeah.
with my conversations with Sherry, she feels good about those numbers that she's provided to you.
yeah, we'll be quite disappointed, I think, if they change.
Because based on those numbers is what we're,
We made
because
a
Adam
decision.
said this is gonna be the number,
Yeah.
because Acton has no flexibility, right?
That's how was our understanding. Yeah. I
Right.
mean, the thing is, we're making decisions about the override and stuff based on that number.
Right.
And I
So-
understand that that's what Adam would say too. I gotta tell you, there's a lot of uncertainty that I have just with, like, if all of our federal funding gets pulled from us this
Right.
year and then state funding goes down below what we can sustain, like, that, I'm not gonna lie, there are external forces that I
Yeah.
worry will impact us in ways we cannot yet predict. So I don't wanna make
But I think that's
promises.
understandable, Liz. I think
Yeah.
we all understand that. We're just saying that when Adam stood here in December at the select board meeting and said, here's the number because Acton has no flexibility. This is as high as they can go, so this is gonna be, because you guys started with, it's gonna be between this and that. And
Right.
that was gonna be way high and we needed definite override, and this wasn't. And we landed
Yeah.
at this number,
Yeah.
And I don't have it off the top of my head.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So I think that's what Tony's trying to
Yeah, I'm
get
trying to-
at.
I'm
It's
trying to
not all
get-
of a sudden gonna go up on
I'm
that.
trying to just
Yeah.
see that we're not going to suddenly get blindsided by an increase in the assessment at the sort of 11th hour when we can't absorb it.
Right. And as far as we see, in terms of, you know, things that are within the school district's control, no, I do not
Yeah.
foresee anything like the health insurance trust blowing up.
Right.
You know, that has all been sort of under control. We've got, you know, our own costs and expectations.
Right.
It would only be if something far beyond what we can control
Right.
explodes.
But if something happens and it's not AB that's losing federal funding, it's all the schools in Massachusetts. There's
Yeah.
gonna be a bigger
Correct.
school crisis that the
Yeah,
state's
yeah.
gonna have to deal with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's,
Correct.
you know.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, if there's a big crisis like that, you know, I worry. We are already in the hold harmless. Like, we're already kind of the, you know, forgotten ones that are like, you can take care of yourself. So I just
Yeah.
worry that if that were to happen, and knock on wood, hopefully not, you know, but if that were to explode, I worry that we would be adversely affected
Sure. Yeah.
because we're affluent.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Liz. And I'd also just remind everyone there's a meeting of the school committee. The budget review for the school committee is on February the 9th, Monday
Yes.
evening.
Yep.
So that will be a fun evening for everybody, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, more coffee for me.
Okay.
And then I will email Peter and Adam to confirm the 3rd for us.
Great. Thank you. Thanks
Great.
a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, next up is the annual report, which I sent out to everybody.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone's read it carefully. Are there any comments on it? It's due in on the 15th, I believe.
I've some very minor comments. First, I'm assuming it's a placeholder, but there was the final expenditures were question mark XXXX.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Third paragraph,
Yes, good, thank you.
page 1.
And right above
Okay,
that, it
then
said
I'll have to highlight that and.
Yeah, and the X
30
increase.
The line above that, the 30 comma
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, those were all, same, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
Yes.
placeholder until we got final numbers.
Yeah,
so.
thank you for spotting that.
And then my other notes, even more minor, on the page with the trends, there's a column for trends.
Yeah.
It's towards the bottom, yeah.
You're going down, go down.
Just the, okay. Well, on the version I was looking at, the column was line breaking.
Alignments.
But then I thought maybe just putting like 3-year trend. It's obvious if you read the chart, but some people might not be as analytical and they might wonder what trend. I know you're just referring to the trends to the right.
So call it 3-year trend?
Yeah, just so it is obvious when people are looking down that column in case they don't extrapolate that
Yeah,
you're talking
yeah.
about those 3 years.
Yeah.
And then one other thing, maybe they're two different things. I think they're the same. Stability fund versus stabilization fund. It's written two different ways on here. I don't know if maybe there's two different things.
Where is that actually?
I don't have it in front of me. You were just in front of one of them.
Go back to the
Stability's
chart.
on page 6.
Yeah, so there it says stability, and then the other place it's mentioned says stabilization.
Which is on page
Stability
2.
fund.
Yeah,
Yes.
back up.
It's stabilization fund, isn't it?
Yeah, stabilization.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to give some comments?
You done?
Yeah, I just went into the minutia. I don't have any structural comments.
So on page 2, line 3, page 3, I apologize, page 3. So those are those actuals?
Budget.
John,
Yeah,
sorry, what
so-
are you looking at precisely?
Hmm?
When you said
So at the top of
actuals?
page 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just that, this first sentence? Or the
yeah,
charts
yes,
and
just
stuff?
the grid, actually, so I'm just,
Okay.
It's budget.
so it's always budget. Okay. That's misleading though, right? Because we were under budget.
We came in under budget.
Yeah, so relative to what our spend is, it's a bigger increase. But, you know what I'm talking about?
Like, yeah, but isn't the purpose of this to show our budget changes? Not to demonstrate the
To be
delta
hon-
between the spent and the projection?
Well, so it's a calendar year 2025 report. So it talks about how we ended up FY 25, and then what FY 26 budget was set at
Right.
in the annual town meeting. But it doesn't really talk about where we are in terms of FY 26.
Right, but to your answer, to your question, Michelle, I mean, again, this is minutia, but it's not minutia, really. If the 25 budget's high, right, it's bigger than it is naturally, or what it was in reality.
We didn't spend it all, yeah.
We didn't spend it all,
Yeah.
right? So now what you're saying is, okay, this is what we're going to spend in 26.
4% more than 25
Right.
budget.
But it's actually more than 4%.
Actually, we spent, yeah.
So I think what the townsfolk, the citizens of Boxborough are interested in is, how much of a spending increase are you forecasting?
But
I think that's a great idea, and I agree with you, Maria. Go ahead.
I don't think it's a bad idea, but it's, then you need to do an operating budget and you need to do another graph that has,
I
or
know.
another
I
chart
am
that
not
has actuals.
I'm not making it easier.
You just have to make it, I don't care if you make it easier for Tony, with all due respect. You need to make it easier for people who are gonna read this. They need to understand it. And so you gotta, it's budget, actual.
Okay, so this argues to our budgets being closer to forecast than we have been.
Well, keep in mind, this has pretty much been the same since then.
Yeah.
And so at one point or another, that, it was much closer.
Well,
And we do talk about what we spent in FY25 versus budget.
okay, all right.
So that's covered.
All right, so it's just when you come in under budget and you compare it to the previous year, we're kind of hiding the fact that this is, our new budget is going to increase more than what it was in reality.
Yes, if you were deeply analytical, you could say that. Yeah.
Okay, all right, deeply. Or you get nothing to do on a Saturday night. Page 3, it says 5.6 someplace in it, then it says 5.4 in the grid.
Where's that?
So see the
5
5.4 in the lower right-hand corner,
Yeah.
right? So then if you go up to the top, I think that's referring to 5.6, isn't it?
In the header, yeah.
You're right. Yeah. Good catch.
Which one's correct?
Well, the grid's right, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, those numbers. This is a
Did you pull the
spreadsheet.
grid from an Excel
It's a
spreadsheet?
spreadsheet. Yeah.
That's the
Or it's a Word document.
calculating.
It's a Word document, but it's been dropped out of an Excel spreadsheet.
All right.
Yeah, then I'd go with the grid.
Yeah.
So 5.4, well, that's even better. Page 6. So at the bottom of page 6, in 26, the debt section. So I thought we had $905,000 in debt service in 26. As a matter of fact, that's what our model says. Where is that number in this section?
In FY.
Yeah, by the way, those columns don't line up either.
Yeah,
FY
yeah.
26 or FY 25?
That's
26.
FY25.
There's no 26 in this. Go to the top.
Yeah, it's
It's 25, 24, and 23.
Oh, that's probably why it's not there. Okay, but,
We did have more debt in 25 actually.
so yeah, maybe that was what I was,
But you're right. I need to sort the columns out. They're not justified consistently.
right, so yeah, that's one reason why. Maybe if they don't line up, just repeat the dates, because that's what threw me off on this.
Yeah.
And so in 25, is there any debt exclusion listed in there? I'm just trying to cross-check.
It's not. Yeah, I don't think we had excluded debt in there actually. Maybe it is in there. I don't
Debt
know.
service payments of 25 was 465.
That's not right, because look at that piece of paper right next to you.
Yeah,
That's like 700,000.
yeah. That seems, it just
Yeah.
seemed wonky.
Yeah. Okay. I'll
Well,
check.
because debt service payments.
I took this from the dashboard actually. These numbers. So maybe the dashboard's wrong. In that case.
And then,
well,
Right,
principal
well-
goes down and interest goes down and debt service payments go down. It would seem to make sense.
Except
But we
what we got earlier for debt exclusion, it was $700,000 for last year.
And that's just excluded debt.
And that's the excluded debt.
Yeah.
Right.
yes, I
So
would
the
just,
debt service isn't right here.
yeah, I would vet the
Revisit.
debt numbers. I mean, the last one was the page 6, certified free, so there's free cash here. Where is that? On page 6, you get a listing of free, nope, go back, page 6. Yep, there's a listing of free cash.
Yeah.
Now, is this certified free cash?
That's what it was last year.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
so that's throwing me off
At the end of
again.
the year.
25.
Yeah, because I was thinking of a $4 million number, and that's 20.
Yeah.
That's FY '26.
Six.
This is low, because certified FY, coming out of FY '25,
25, this is-
going into, was higher than 1.3, but that's the actual number, oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong number. At the end of the year,
After town meeting.
after town meeting, but that does not mean there's other things that go into free cash. So,
I'm thinking my mistake is simply, that free cash number is from not 1 November ago, it's 2 Novembers ago.
yes,
Okay,
and it was higher even then.
It's also at the end of
Because-
July.
Right, because
End
this,
of June,
the
yeah.
end of June.
Yeah.
So this is after town
Oh.
meeting, Tony, because of the dashboard, you got this off the dashboard too, right? So that's the actual balance, but then when you take your free cash balance and you add and subtract all the things that go to local services,
Mhm.
right? There's other stuff that goes in there. So that number certified is much higher. This isn't the certified number,
Okay.
this is the year-end number.
Got
Yeah,
it.
and the
Which is
year
different.
number, this stuff comes out of there in town meeting.
Right.
We spend free cash on, so
Actual-
it goes straight away, basically.
Actual at end of
End of-
fiscal year.
End of fiscal
Right.
year.
End of fiscal
Okay.
year 25, DLS is 3.2 million for free cash. If I'm reading this right.
What was it, 3.2?
3.218 million?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So the difference is that $1 million that comes back in from the budget, plus the revenues, plus this, plus that, and that's all on that sheet.
Okay,
So
yeah.
that's year-end number, not certified numbers.
So yeah, you may want to add fiscal. That's fiscal.
Actually says that, right?
No, it says end of year.
Well, it's FY 25.
Right.
Oh, fiscal year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Can we, I think this is fine. I did not get in the minutia like these guys did, frankly. I got, between the fire station stuff and everything else, I figured there was enough people doing the minutia, and John would make sure we were on
Yeah.
track. But can we put on an agenda, possibly talking about adding some money to stabilization if we have so much free
I
cash?
think we're doing, yeah, I agree, yeah.
Right, for this year, we could do a warrant article.
Well, I think
to
we
do that.
have to actually, because we are going to be, we're at 5.1% at the end of FY 25. We're going to be below our 5%, I think, with the operating
Because
budget
the budget
going up.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, because
Yeah.
we do have a lot of free cash and we could put it in there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and that need a warrant article now.
And then people aren't so tempted to say, well, it doesn't matter, we have free cash.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
I've been hearing a lot of that lately,
yeah, yeah,
so.
yeah, okay. Okay, and then the calendar coming up, basically we have meetings every week now, right? So
Yeah.
maybe,
Yes.
Very exciting.
I mean, pretty easy to share this one here, actually. No, that's probably not going to share. But we, yeah, so I'll send a list out of what we got, who we got coming in at various times. But it's basically, meeting every week, and Capital Saturday on the 7th.
Yeah.
School meeting on the 9th. And then we've got people coming in different times. So
In the library, we said it's a question mark, because if they don't have anything major, we're not gonna have
we
to
don't
talk
want
about
to,
it.
yeah, we don't need a library.
Yeah.
Someone wants to talk to the library.
Okay.
Committee reports. Joe.
I have nothing, and there's some of my committees have meetings next week. Looked at the library's agenda. They've got nothing relevant to us, so I think we will not need to see them. And nothing else for now. Still waiting on just clarity on the CPC thing with conservation, but I don't know if there's anything else we need to look into.
Give me
at
like
this-
2 minutes and I'll give you the update.
Yeah, sure. We'll wait until she gets to the shop. Or go ahead now, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I can. So we voted all the warrant articles, and it seems as though John and a prominent member of
This
the
is
finance
just,
committee.
I heard this is not how this took place. I just need you to know that. I felt like, when my husband came home and told me that, I
A
said,
prominent
are
member
you
of the
serious?
finance
That's not how
committee.
it took place.
It's
Just
not how it
understand, I
went
wasn't
down.
circumventing you.
I
It was
don't
just-
feel like that.
Okay.
I don't feel like
All right.
that.
Because
Th-
I was
that's not
supposed to
how it
vote an
went down.
override thing, and then I said, well, I have you, because that's I just asked a question. So I did not try to circumvent you. I knew you could handle it all. I was pretty appalled that was said at that meeting, and I apologize.
This is okay. I had a good chuckle. That's okay. For the record, that's not how it went down. But essentially, the CPC voted 2 articles and gave John, our chair, the ability to, put forward whichever one goes on the final warrant. One is for $25,000 that assumes the open space and recreation plan is funded from the Conservation Trust Fund, as it had been in the past, and one for $10,000 that assumed the OSRP is funded in a separate warrant article. So one of those 2 will come forward. There's going to be some conversation on Capital Saturday, And as a result of that conversation, John will bring one forward for the warrant. But both of them passed, both of them are ready to rock, and everything else also passed, including like the playground, the roof for town hall, et cetera, et cetera. So
that's sort of what we expected. I just wasn't sure if the,
two options on the
if the,
table.
when is that grant, when are we gonna know about the grant and whether or not one or the other becomes the prevalent one,
Yeah,
you know?
that's,
Not about the grant, it's about how the select board wants to fund it. Because
Yeah.
what the select board would do is put forward an article for the full amount, and on town floor say, and I don't know, I'm guessing, the full amount is $50,000, but we're hoping to get a $30,000 grant. We'd like approval for $50,000. If we get the $30,000 grant, we will only use.
Okay.
Yep.
That's how they would put it forward.
Okay.
So, because we can't wait on the grant. I think the grant deadline
it's,
is
Yeah.
too far out.
Yeah,
So that's how you normally do it if you're expecting a grant.
okay. Cool.
yep.
John?
So sustainability actually got moved out. It's now second Wednesdays of every month, so I'll have that tomorrow night. Recom had to get delayed to Thursday, but there was a little bit of an update today. They provided, Alec put together a, the open space plan for the 144 Summer Road parcel that we've had for a while, suggesting an open air fitness park and a walking trail. I think that is something they're going to discuss probably more at length tomorrow night, Thursday night about that, in terms of what they want to do and how they want to do it, especially because Liberty already is in open space with a walking trail.
It's
Right,
like, wait, this sounds
so,
familiar.
yes, so, but I know there are also a lot of environmental or conservation considerations for that parcel, which is making it more difficult to use. Like, I think they already ruled out doing a softball field there would not be feasible. So I think that suggestion needs a lot more discussion to find something that'll be amenable to everyone while also getting the support that it needs and not be, say, redundant or something like that else in the town. So at least it is moving forward now with some kind of suggestion, but I think that's going to be their big topic on Thursday, so I'll probably have more next week.
And when RecCom comes, they're going to discuss their CPC thing as well, right?
Yes.
You told me that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Fire station, you know all about that. I did go to Council on Aging. They're not coming forward with any big items this year for capital. They've had to increase the number of lunches. They usually were at about 35 to 40 lunches for the senior lunch on the Wednesdays, and she's increased that number to 60 now because people sponsor it. So she says they've had a lot more people, and I think that's probably what it was before COVID, and then when COVID hit, and so now people are coming back, which is good. It's a great way for the seniors to get together and socialize. And really, that's it. They just keep chugging along and putting programs together.
Oh, EDC is starting their economic development plan. So that's kicking off. Maybe some revenue. I don't know. We'll see.
Great.
Great.
Oh, and I did go to planning board last night. I'm sorry. They finally approved Campanelli after almost a year.
Nice.
So that was good. So they're going to move forward. My understanding is, so there's an appeal process. So it's like a X number of days. I want to say 60 days. That either party can appeal the conditions. And so once that's done, I think we'll pretty quickly start seeing, possible development, because I know that they were pushing for it because they have tenants who are looking to do some build out.
Yeah.
Do we know what Campanelli wants to do, or the tenants want to do over there? I'm more just out of curiosity.
I don't think so. I don't.
Okay.
They had to keep it all confidential.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I think that is when the site plan comes forward, we'll know. I mean, they know what they can do.
Gotcha.
They're not going to be doing hazardous waste stuff over there.
Right.
Maybe like light manufacturing and research, that kind of thing.
Just something.
Something, yeah. Something
then
that's
our
going to
little
build
new-
a building and add to our tax base.
I was gonna say, in our new growth item, we'll,
Exactly.
have a nice little spike in it soon,
Right,
sooner
so-
rather than hopefully later.
Exactly.
Nothing more than already discussed. I mean, that last school committee meeting was 4+ hours long, and there was a lot of vocal
I watched part of it. I couldn't get through the whole thing.
discussion on all sides. I mean, there's just all
Yeah.
perspectives were
It was
there.
a lot.
So
People are very passionate about the schools.
kudos to the school committee.
Turns out.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favour?
Aye.
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 Meeting adjourned at 9:17 p.m. How long did it take so long?
That was pretty good, though.
Noting the time of 7 o'clock p.m. Tuesday, January 13th, I bring this meeting of the Boxborough Finance Committee to order. I'll note for the minutes we have Joe Stolpin, John Grieven, Michelle Ryan, Maria Nayland, John Connor, and myself, Tony Newton. Also in the room we have Mike Johns, Town Administrator, Ray John Hudson, Deputy Town Administrator. We have Becky Neville, we have Mary Brolin, and we have Gary Kushner. And at this point, I'm going to go into executive session. So we're going to into executive session to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, and value of real property pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, 21A6, because the Chair believes that the discussion in open session will have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the town. So at this point, we're going into executive session.
So moved.
Oh.
Somebody needs a second.
Second.
Make a motion, yes, yeah, okay. So that's a move by Maria Nayland and seconded by Michelle.
And you have to do a roll call vote for that.
Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote to go into executive session.
Stolpen, aye.
Grevin, aye.
Ryan, I.
Neil and I.
Connor, aye.
And Newton, aye.
Okay.
Okay. We can go next door to the